Well, welcome back to GIS Analysis at the University of Alaska Fairbanks. In this session, we're going to animate stationary events. And a stationary event is a location that's changing in some way over time. So classic examples would be sensors. So for example, a weather station where the temperature is changing over time, or the precipitation, traffic counters, stream gauging stations where the stream discharge is changing over time, etc. So what we're going to do is we'll start and we'll create a one point representing our sensor. You can imagine what type of sensor you're working with. So we'll use create random points to do that. So I'll output point feature class called sensor location in my test geo database, and we just want 1 point, so we'll just change it from 100 to 1, and then we'll just take the defaults for everything else. So we do have our 1 point. So next what we're going to do is we'll open the attribute table and we'll add an ID for this sensor point. So we'll add a field and we'll calculate the ID for that field. So I'll name this field location ID, and then we can give it some unique value. It doesn't matter as long as it's a unique value. I'll give it a value 89 just to be something. Okay, so we have this location. What we're going to do is create a table that contains the information about the time at this location and then some value that changes at this location. So we'll create a table in our geodatabase. So right mouse click, new table, and we can name that whatever we want. Let's call it changing values. And then next, and then next, and then we'll have some fields. So one field will be an ID field, and that will be short integer. And then the second field will be what is the value at this location. So it may be stream discharge in meters per second. It may be temperature in degrees Celsius, whatever the sensor is recording. And then we'll have another field that will be the time for that value. That will be a date field. And then just finish. So then we have our table. So let's start editing that table. So right mouse click and edit to start editing our table. So each row will get the same value as our point, which is our sensor, so that we calculated to be 89 originally. So I'll copy this, and then I could just paste it in the next row. And we'll make 10 rows. And then we'll assign a value. So let's say the value is equal to the object ID times 10.5, just to be something different. So then we have our values, and let's give them 2 to the right of the decimal and pad with zeros, so they all line up. And then what we're going to do is we're going to assign a time associated with each of these values. So let's first fill in this time with a fixed date. So we'll use the field calculator and we'll fill it in with a fixed date. So every row will get July 4th, 2019. And then what we'll do is we'll add an hour as we go down to each row. So to do that, we could use the field calculator and the date add function. So it would be date add hour, so lowercase h, and then we're going to add an hour, so that will be the object ID, and we don't want to add an hour to our first one, so let's just make it -1, and then we're going to add that to our date field, this field, and then just OK. So then we have midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., all the way to 9 in the morning. And then we go editor, stop editing, and save our work. So we have our standalone table. It has an ID field, and we have our sensor location, which is a point, and we have a location ID. So we can use these two key fields to link our table of changing values virtually to our location. So to do that, we're going to use a tool named Make Query Table. So we input our two tables. The order doesn't matter. And then the two key fields. So the field is the ID field and the location ID field. So that's the two key fields. And then we can name this layer whatever we want to name it, and then just OK. So that will create a virtual layer. So here's our virtual layer, and if we look at the fields, we have the time, we have the value. Let's turn all these fields off. So we have the time, we have the value, and we have the shape, which is our point. So if we open up the attribute table, we now have the value and the time and its location as a point. So then we could go to this layer and go to properties and then time to enable time. So we're going to enable time and calculate what is the time. It goes from midnight to 9 a.m. In our interval, let's do it every hour. So every 1 hour. And then OK. So then we click once to enable time on this. So then we could go to options and we'll display the date as we go through. So the date, let's display, it's going to be the same. Let's just display the time. So we'll do the time like this. So show time on map display, and then let's put that in a frame. So we'll frame it. So that gives us the time as we step through. So 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., all the way to 9 a.m. And if you look at our table, we only see that value as we step through. So we start, and this is the event at midnight, and then the next record, the event at 1 a.m., etc. So now what we want to do is we want to symbolize our point based on the changing value. We go from 10.5 to 105, so let's change our symbology from 10.5, we'll give it a symbol size of 10, to 105 for our maximum one, so 105. So it only gives up to 100, so let's do 100 then. And then apply, and then that would be the size of 100. So let's play this animation in 5 seconds. So we set our playback to 5 seconds, and then play it in 5 seconds. So that's how we can animate stationary events, and they're basically at the same location. Something is changing over time.